All right, we need to all take a real deep look into what Donald Trump's plans are if he becomes president again. Especially women need to pay attention, especially Republican women. He has stated loud and clear what his intentions are for women's rights. He states that the states themselves and the federal government will monitor the menstrual cycles of women just to make sure that they're not having abortion care. That's kind of a big one. He wants to take it to that point. He also stated very clearly many times a nationwide abortion ban, zero exceptions. And many of these Republican states have already lowered the age of ability for marriage and everything else to 12. 12. So a 12-year-old can get married to a 40, 50-year-old man, can get pregnant, and can't have women's health care. Many of these states don't have women's health care staff anymore, no doctors or anyone else, because they are under threat of criminal prosecution, being charged for murder, little things like that, and the loss of their license. That's just one part of what he plans on doing. There's also a mass deportation of over 11 million people, and including setting up migrant camps. You remember, back in the good old days when America was great, during the world wars with the Japanese internment camps and, that. Also, personal discretion for all government funds being spent on anything. So Donald Trump will dictate where all the taxpayer money is spent. Oh, screw that whole pesky Congress, and the whole appropriations committee and all that. None of that matters because Donald Trump's going to be in charge and he can write the checks wherever he wants. At this point, much of it will go to his legal fees, but, he'll get rid of all those, pesky criminal charges and evidence. He also wants to put everybody who is not a Trump supporter, who has vocalized opposition to Donald Trump, that would include me, any news stations that aren't speaking exactly how he wants them to speak, will lose their broadcast licenses and criminally prosecuted. Or, are you ready for this? He has the right to put them down, like dogs. Close down and prosecute news reporters. Freedom of speech, right? Close down and prosecute. Attack and jail anyone who's spoken against him. He said he will not aid the allies. He will not defend the allies, because if he doesn't think they're paying enough money into their own defense, they're not worthy of saving. Hence, Uncle Vladdy could do whatever the hell he wants. He already told them that. He's also going to deploy the National Guard wherever he sees fit to enforce martial law whenever he feels like it. These are things he admitted to in interview with Time Magazine and other places. This is the man that MAGA, men and women, are fighting for. If we draw a correlation to, say, North Korea, when Kim Jong-un's father passed away and a citizen wasn't mourning hard enough for the loss of Kim Jong-un's father, they were thrown into prison for the rest of their lives or executed because they didn't show enough sadness. If they don't clap enough and cheer enough when Kim Jong-un walks in front of them, they get thrown in jail, or their spouse will get thrown in jail just as a punishment, or they'll just get executed. No one can speak freely, same in Russia. The media is basically anything Kim Jong-un wants to say. Same with China, same with Russia. All the people Donald Trump takes after and vocalizes, that's how he wants our country, the United States of America, to be. He has stated that over and over and over again. So if you MAGA people are denying and saying this is fake news, then you really are the target demographic of what he loves so much, the uneducated. So do yourself a favor, because if you get your MAGA wish and you put that DG back in the office, you'll have to register your menstrual cycles with the state. And if you're late, they're going to pregnancy test you to make sure you're not pregnant. And if you are pregnant, they will babysit you until you give birth. And don't forget, if you need money, because it's, being a parent's expensive, especially like 12, 13 years old, it's good because they also lowered the labor laws so 12-year-olds can work full-time jobs. They got to support that kid. So that's a good thing, right? But they took away the lunch programs at schools. They're privatizing the schools, so they're going to have to pay to go to the schools because, they'll all be private schools. And those voucher programs they put into place are actually going to the richer kids who don't need them. But it saves them money and gives them good tax breaks, so they'll take them. And there's no government thing stopping them. But anyway, all this fine education and all the, food stamp programs and things that a struggling 12, 13-year-old mom may need raising a child from their 40-year-old husband or their uncle that attacked them while they were sleeping. They will monitor your menstrual cycles. How much more do you want? That's out of the mouth of your guy. Right under that red hat and red tie. Wake the hell up. Republican women. You need to recognize this before it's too late. Because your daughters, maybe you're past the point of the whole worrying about the whole kid thing and your cycle doesn't matter. Maybe you're missing your cycle now, whatever. Your daughter's not. Your son's girlfriend's not. Your granddaughters aren't. They won't be. But they will be monitored, and they won't have any rights. They won't have any women's health care either because most doctors aren't going to get into that business anymore because it's too dangerous. We need to think about what's going on and what he's promising to do, and he says it out loud. There's no fake news there. Those are out of his mouth. So wake up and recognize that this is who you're backing. This is who you're fighting for, and this is who you want back in freaking office. Are you kidding me? Forget the 90, 100, all these trials going on. Forget the 13-year-olds that are suing him for, all that stuff with his buddy Epstein. Forget all that. Forget that whole thing that you don't want to admit is real anyway. So let's just put that aside and let's focus on his own words over and over, what he promises you. What he promises this already great country will turn into under his rule. And guess what else he said? The only people that'll work in government jobs will be his people. No Democrat, Republican, no other voices. Whatever he says goes. And anyone who doesn't agree gets thrown in jail or executed. Like his buddies in North Korea or Russia or China. This is what you want. This is what MAGA wants. This is what Republican women are defending. Are you fucking kidding me? All because of a vote. All because you want to stand true to your vote, your red hat, your gold shoes. There's a reason why he says he loves the uneducated. Because you people won't look past his remarks, but when he says something like this, you'll ignore it all. You can't have one without the other. You can't be pissed off at Colin Kaepernick for kneeling for the Pledge of Allegiance, but not be pissed off that there's a Rambo picture of Trump with an M16. Be diligent, stay educated, and be kind. We're in this